All right, this is Sky with the Civic Crisis, and we just wanted to follow up with our episode 2, part 2 of this podcast, some postscript. We forgot to mention this article from the Washington Post, published December 30th, 2019. Quote, "We are just destroying these kids. The foster children growing up in detention centers." And then it goes in to talk about, though never convicted of any crimes, and then goes in to describe these jails that these foster kids are subjected to living in. And so that is just following up with the disturbing trends that we highlighted in the podcast today. So thanks for checking in on this follow-up where we wanted to post this to put it in more context, how we were going into describing the potential dystopic future of the next generation of incarceration for all Americans as made debt slaves. And this would be so if this Washington Post article talking about the many cases and instances across the country where foster children are being held in jails or detention centers, they're just living their lives that way. If this grows and becomes more of an issue while families become more troubled and breaking apart, as families break apart more, or we just don't want to see this trend increasing. So that's why we're highlighting it today, and we're identifying a problem so we can prevent it exacerbating, and we can come up with solutions to fix this. But first we have to identify the problem. All right, well, this is Sky with the Civic Crisis. Thanks for joining this part 2 of the podcast today, November 5th, where we want to highlight these foster children living in incarceration today and try to imagine that as in a mass context. Imagine the next generation being forced to be the generation of incarceration for all. That's what we're fighting for, the future of our country for generations to come, the unborn generations. I wanted to relate this to the massive spending in Congress, talking about spending unborn Americans' tax dollars when they spend these unborn American tax dollars on programs that are counterproductive or just fraud, waste, and abuse, or just mind-boggling how that would be relevant to the future generations when they come across it in the future and say, well, what were they doing funding abortion all around the world with our tax dollars? Well, if the system grows the future generation to be the future generation of incarceration made debt slaves, they won't have much say. If freedom of speech is taken away, the future now is being planned and created. So we want to identify the potential disastrous paths that lie ahead of us that may be taken, if not if the country and society isn't steered and led in a more positive direction with true sound leadership and integrity and transparency and the belief in the real American values of equality and equal justice for all and the pursuit of happiness, our rights of life and liberty. And we just need to be sharp. Keep your head on a swivel, folks. Thanks for joining the Civic Crisis. This is Sky. Go ahead and sign off now. Have a good one.